What up, everybody? This your boy B-Rob, and I'm back with another edition of the Random Rambles with Rob podcast. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back each and every week, or however you listen to podcasts. And if you're a first-time listener, I'd like to thank you oh so much for giving my show a try. Normally, if this was under optimal conditions, I would tell you to reach over and give that person that recommended you to me a crisp high five. But 6-foot rule and mask and gloves and all that stuff. So to be safe in these trying times, pick up your phone or whatever other social media device you have and find your social media app of choice and send them a well-crafted DM telling them thank you for recommending you to me. Speaking of social media, you can find the Random Rambles with Rob on various social media platforms to include Twitter at 3R Show, Instagram at the 3R Show, twitch.tv/3R Show, Facebook 3R Show, YouTube 3R Show, and you kind of get the gist of it. But if you forgot all of that I just said, because I kind of rambled through it pretty quickly, you can go to randomrob.com and find all the information that I just stated. Now, joining me once again, hold on, let me see if I can get my bearings right. I did it. All right, cool. Because usually, because it's reverse, I usually point the wrong way. So sitting to this is my right, so my left over here is one man that I don't know. There's not so many words that can describe this man. He is a host of a fantastic podcast that I've seen from its infancy to what it is now, the juggernaut running the game and everything. If there's polls that you see on Twitter, if you frequent that social media space, there's often people that ask, what's your favorite podcast or what podcast you see doing great things and so on and so forth. This podcast that he's a part of and one other podcast are the two that always come to my mind. One being the Code 45 podcast with Brandon and Randy, local here to Houston, Texas. But this man, James Gavsie, is half of the Who Will Win podcast with Race to Canis, and I got full backing and belief in this show and the Code 45 podcast. If anything was to come of this, if a executive just dropped down from the heavens, it's like, give me two. These would be the two that I recommend. So as I said his name already. Joining me from the Who Will Win show and Ride Share, executive producer, which one?
A little bit of both.
Bit of both. James Gavsie, how are you, sir?
I am fantastic. I haven't been introduced that well ever. So thank you. I mean, we're in rare company. And by the way, your show is fantastic. And I've seen your growth over the years. I've seen just who you've become. And I got to tell you, I feel like I'm in rare company when I get to be mentioned by someone like you and get really nice compliments like that from you. So thank you, sir.
Man, I appreciate those kind words from you. Suck it, Ray. You didn't say shit nice about me.
Ray, listen, let me tell you something about Race to Canis. For those who don't know, this guy, listen, okay, I'll just go out there. He's a former pro wrestler. Mm-hmm. He's a good dad. He's a great husband. He's actually a really good guy. Mm-hmm. But I disagree with him on everything, in every way that we can disagree with another human being. And that's my co-host for the Who Would Win show. He's loud. He likes to use his outside voice indoors, and his nickname is Socially Awkward.
Word. And I'm just joshing with you there, Ray. You're freaking awesome. Ray is always right in certain situations, not the ones that you win, though. He's not right in those situations, but the ones he's right in.
Yeah, no, of course. Listen, in the 1 out of 10 matches he wins, he's right. Absolutely. But in the, and the reality is we're actually kind of evenly split in terms of who wins and what have you. It's weird when we look at the stats and our team says, hey, and our team filled with great people who like to poke the bear, whether I'm the bear or raise the bear and say, guess who's ahead, guess who's winning, and it's always tied. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, when you were here last, you were just kind of talking about how that relationship started because the Who Will Win show did go through a revamp. And, you brought in Ray and the format kind of changed up just a little bit and everything to suit, the ever-changing social media platform that we're on and everything. So how has that been since that time? I should have looked up the date when the last time you was here, but let's just say what, it's been a year at least
At
that y'all been
least,
together, right?
at least. We started back in February of 2019,
Yeah.
and what happened was, there's been a couple of different iterations of who would win, but the reality is, like, I live in Los Angeles. I'm lucky enough to be involved with production, so I wanted to do it, a little bit of like LA style in studio with like all the cool stuff happening, bringing some great guest judges who are celebrities and what have you. And before COVID, that was all a possibility to do, in person. So I got introduced to Ray, and it was a love-hate relationship immediately. I knew I didn't like him on so many different levels, but I loved to argue with him. And there was a magic between us, as weird as that is to say, that is like somehow you take a race to Canis, mix a caveman with a Viking, and then that's race to Canis, and mix, whatever the heck I am, and put that together, and it just somehow it works really, really well.
Word. So what is like? What was that? Angel and the Pirate. There you go.
I've been called a pirate. Yeah, I've been called worse. It's all good.
But I mean, even through this over a year that y'all been together, you have been freaking growing and expanding the Who Would Win brand. You've been bringing in phenomenal guests, and one to raise dismay. I keep forgetting the guy's name. You run the
Creative Extreme. Are you talking about Stefan?
Yes.
Okay, Stefan Thomas. Let me tell you something. Listen, I first of all, the Creative Extreme, Stefan Thomas is the CEO. He's got a great partner, Chris Ipko. And these guys, go to thecreativeextreme.com. I met them at WonderCon. Great bunch of people behind this company. And what they did, just for those who don't know, they said, okay, let's create our universe first, and we'll create our story second. So they took a whole year and made one character within their universe per day per year. So at the end of it, they had 365 characters. I'm talking the artwork, the history, how they were taking out spreadsheets when I met them, saying, see how this person is connected to them. And so right away, I just felt like these are awesome people. Thecreativeextreme.com, put in the word the there, first, and check them out. Anyway, Stefan and I hit it off pretty well. We brought him into the show. Let's just say he and Ray didn't connect. There was a polite, I don't know what you want to call it. There just wasn't, the flow wasn't there. And we did Michael Myers versus Scooby-Doo, kind of an off-the-wall matchup. And Stefan, I don't know what happened. He just came into it thinking like, I just think Ray should lose. And there was nothing Ray could have done. And after that match, he's like, Stefan, did you really already decide this match before you came in? And Stefan is a great judge, great human being, great father, the whole thing. He's like, yeah, I just wanted you to lose. And that's where the quote unquote love affair started, with Stefan Thomas from the Creative Extreme and Race to Canis. It was weird. It worked for me. I'm good.
Out of the whole year, out of the time that y'all been together, you had all these great guests in here so far. I mean, I know it's kind of like your children or whatever, but I mean, who's been your favorite judge overall so far?
That's a really tough question. We've had a group look, every judge is awesome, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But there's been a group that have kind of, they just stick in my mind. And I talk with the Who Would Win production team, and Ray actually agrees too, where we say, this is the group of people who set the standard. Zeno Robinson, by the way, great voice actor, did some work with Digital Sky and Rideshare. You never know. Two very handsome gentlemen, by the way.
Thank you.
You never know. I'm talking about me and Zeno Robinson. And hey, you're here too. That's great. So Zeno Robinson's fantastic, amazing actor. He was the voice for Hawks in My Hero Academia. He was Cyborg in Young Justice. I mean, this guy, you're going to be hearing about this person a lot in the coming years. He's someone who really was amazing. Who else? I mean, we had, of course, Stefan Thomas, and we've got, by the way, some insane judges coming on. What's really crazy is, and I'm so thankful for this, and it's really due to a lot of support from people like you, by the way. We have insane people coming out asking if they can come on our show, and I'm not at liberty to say yet who they are. These are the people who we would be dying to get on, a year ago, and now they're like, can we please come on your show? We love it. It's a good platform. And Ray and I are like giggling like little kids, like, oh my goodness. And then we turn to them, it's like, well, we'll have to assess the social media, accounts you guys have and the following. Yeah. And we'll get back to you. So yeah, it's been a wild ride. I'll put it that way.
Very, very professional. I thought, barring the talent that you have coming in, if there's any, well, I'll give you two because one is very restricted. Who are any two judges that you would like to have to moderate the show?
If I could pick any two?
Any two, one for one episode, one for another episode.
Oh my gosh. We've had some insane people before. Definitely Kevin Conroy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And that's something I just told myself I'm going to try everything I can to make that happen, because obviously you can't be anything but a fan of Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
The next one, you're going to laugh, but
I'm already laughing.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. There's a politician, I'm not going to say who it is, who I'd like to have on the show, because they would be fantastic. They'd be controversial. I'd get into it with them. I actually disagree with 100% of their stances on everything, but I think they'd be a great judge. And I put the word out that I'd like them to come on the show. I haven't heard a no yet, so I'm not gonna say.
Very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So you talk about Kevin Conroy and everything. It's just like, I say Michael Keaton is my Batman, because that was like the first real on-screen one I've seen, other than Adam West on the television show or whatever. But Michael Keaton was the one that I were attached to. That was for my time. I was like, whoa, we got a Batman in a movie and everything, right? But when I think of Batman talking, it's always Kevin Conroy's voice. Same thing with the Joker with Mark Hamill. It's just like,
oh, absolutely.
Anytime I see the character, I hear their voice coming out of that person's mouth, and I don't know.
Yeah. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember the show. There's a show on. It was like, I think it was on CBS in the late '80s, early '90s, called Tour of Duty. Right. It was all about. It came out after the movie Platoon. I mean, you and I were way too young to be watching it, but of course we would. And it was about this. Tour of Duty was about this platoon of soldiers in Vietnam. In the late '60s, I think early '70s. Kevin Conroy was like the platoon leader. And yeah, he was a big dude. Like, this was a guy. I mean,
look that up.
Yeah, he's jacked. He was jacked. It was crazy. It was the late, and I'm like, what is Batman? What's Bruce Wayne doing in Vietnam? Which I think was Malibu. I'm not really sure where they were filming it, but you're seeing him do all this crazy stuff, and then spoiler alert, he didn't make it out of season 1.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, but if he had stayed on Tour of Duty, he possibly wouldn't have been in Batman.
See, and that's the thing. I've been talking with a lot of people about this, especially when I have guests on here. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And that was just meant to be. He had to lose that character so he can just fall into the path that he was meant to be on, which is to be Batman.
Exactly.
Oh man. But speaking of what you got going on and everything, the whole overhaul of who would win has been mind-blowing to me. It's just because I seen it from the ground floor.
Yeah.
I know, the people all involved that's got it started and up and running and everything, and to see how it's grown and where it is now. One question I do have, because I haven't spoken about it since you were here last. What happened to the giggly lady? The one that y'all used to have to moderate every now and then. I forget, it was a female.
Oh, are you talking about Amira?
Yes.
Okay, so let me explain. The first studio we went to in Los Angeles that I don't even think is in existence anymore, Nye Studios, really cool people running it. They said, hey, Ray and I came in and they said, well, what do you need? You need, we need an engineer. So we meet Amira, and Amira, I think she's since moved from Los Angeles. You couldn't have asked for a nicer, like she's like a wonderful human being, right? And so she came in and she's like, oh, you guys are talking about like nerdy characters. And I know what she was thinking. She's like, oh my God, I got to sit through, this. And I'm like, just give it a shot. Let's see what happens. And the first episode, I said, I'm going to make her laugh. I'm going to make her laugh as we do this. And sure enough, she starts giggling. She's got this contagious laugh. And I'm like, I looked at her and I said, congratulations, you're part of the show. and what happened was, unfortunately, 9 studios had to close down.
Oh,
and we had to find another place called Networks Studios, which was another amazing facility in Culver City, who had their own engineers and what have you. And then Amira left Los Angeles. Every once in a while, we talk or drop a line to each other on social media. Again, wonderful human being. Can't say enough good things about her.
Oh man, that's because that was another turning point in the show or whatnot. Because I wasn't too privy of that aspect of it. I just was used to hearing her and the laugh and everything, and then kaput. And I was like, "Oh,
gone." I know, I know.
Like,
and I remember talking to her maybe a few months ago, just saying, the moment you're back in Los Angeles, consider yourself to have a job with us immediately. So, yeah, she was great. We've had some amazing people come on, and here's the deal for people who don't know: the Who Would Win show was a TV show I was pitching. That's where this all came from, and this is where I'm trying to take it as well. And I'll never forget. I'm not sure if I told you this, when I was talking with some producers. I had a pitch meeting, and I'm presenting Who Would Win. And I'll never forget what one of the producers said. He was like, "Well, do people actually talk about fictional battles from characters from different, fantasy and sci-fi and comic book universes?" And I'm like, "Okay, hold please." I said, do a countdown for 30 seconds. I'm going to show you over 1 billion views of this kind of stuff on YouTube. So sure enough, I showed them like epic rap battles,
yes,
death battles, superpower beatdown, all great stuff. And they said, cool, well, show us a proof of concept. And this all started as a segment on someone else's podcast.
Yeah.
And I just want to show people like, hey, people actually like this kind of stuff. And that's where it all started from, like very grassroots. We didn't put money into marketing or advertising. I was convinced we could do it on our own, and with a lot of help from people like you, I thank God every day it blew up and got to where it is.
Question though about that whole situation and whatnot. After somebody making a statement like that, did you have any confidence? I mean, did you want to even work with somebody that was so out of touch with what's going on in the world, period?
Yeah, hell no. No, I was like, very nice handshake back, and I said, thank you for your time. I walked out. I did bump into the person a little while, later, and we said hi to each other, and he's like, what's going on with it? And I said, just look up at Who Would Win show, and you'll see what we're all about. And of course, he called me back later. He's like, wow, this is really cool. I'm like, yeah, thanks. And and listen, great guy. Here's the deal. He just wasn't into comic book culture, so he couldn't understand that. Yeah, that's it. But then, when I said, hey, look, you know what it is? Imagine Bruce Lee versus Andre the Giant. How would you debate that? And he was like, oh, well, Andre the Giant, and I said, now you get it.
Exactly. You just had to speak his language. That's all.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
Now, because of Who Would Win and your freaking intoxicating mind fog.
Well, thank you, sir.
It got you into working in a whole bunch of other arenas besides the Who Would Win arena. Behind you is a lovely backdrop of Digital Sky's anthology series called Rideshare. I got up to speed on the first season, and the basis for this one, Rideshare, is off of the first episode from season 1, which I will say, out of all the ones I've heard, was the one that grabbed me the most. So was that kind of the consensus with you all, moving forward with just that one singular story rather than another anthology?
No, you nailed it. So what happened was Digital Sky was, an anthology series and really a series of pilots. So every episode was just by itself. We were trying to say, like, okay, and I came on to the Digital Sky. It's actually Zoit Media that owns Digital Sky. Zoit. And yeah, exactly. Thank you, sir. And I came on after they had pretty much finished recording the first few episodes. And Scott Zachary, the writer and director, and also an amazing producer, great guy overall. I met him after doing a live Who Would Win show. Ray Sakane and I were walking the floor. We bumped into each other. He's a New Yorker. I'm pretty straightforward. And he's like, oh, yeah, my podcast, The Digital Sky, scripted audio drama. It's amazing. It's the best thing you've ever listened to. And I stopped him and I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to listen to it. And if it's not the best thing I've ever listened to, I'm going to let everyone know. I said, do you still want me to listen to it? And he looked at me. He's like, yeah, do it. I'm like, okay. So I listened to it, and it was amazing. It was the rideshare episode with Eric Martzoff, who's known as Brady Black from Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives, yeah.
And he's also Booster Gold from Smallville. And this guy, by the way, awesome, another awesome guy, walks like a superhero, talks like a superhero, looks like a superhero, pretty much is a superhero. And so I listened to it. And then I started talking to the team, and they were like, hey, why don't you come on board as a producer? I'm like, great, done. And so then what happened was we had this series of pilots, and we said, where are we going to go next? And, we thought, okay, well, let's do a cool survey and see which one hit the most with our audience. And it was Rideshare, the story of Keith, who, picture Dexter, the serial killer of serial killers, meeting, the Punisher, but with the finesse of Bruce Wayne, who can get whatever he wants whenever he wants, but like staying underneath the radar, or below the radar. So he says, like, how can I create some anarchy and just have fun with humanity the way I want to? I'll be a rideshare driver. Hyper intelligent. He's like, that's my thing. And it's a really cool story of this amazing con artist who can just understand human psychology to a crazy degree and get whatever he wants whenever he wants.
Now, listening to I caught up on the first couple episodes, and I listened to episode 0 as well. From I think episode 0, you had the little excerpt or whatever with the guy that plays Keith. He just kind of talked about how he felt as the character. It was just like, he said when he read the script and everything, he just felt like he was in the environment. He really synced up with this character and whatnot. I mean, he didn't admit to any nefarious means in his personal life or whatnot.
I did ask him that, by the way. I did. I'm not sure he was happy about it. I'm like, yeah, have you ever done some crazy stuff like Keith, as a con artist?
Yeah. I plead the fifth.
Why would I do that kind of stuff at all? Yeah.
But listening to him speak and just being the character and whatnot, I think it was the episode 1, because it picks up where the season 1 of Digital Sky ends. I got those mixed up. But it starts where the original episode ends.
You nailed it.
There was a part to where the guy was walking him around his house and everything. And I swear, I forget which part it was, when he was like, do you want to tour the house or something like that? And he said something slide comment or whatnot. And I could just see it, like, if it was on film, that like this would be the point in time to where the guy would walk off to give him the tour, and he would kind of look and wink at the camera and just
Totally. Yeah. He would totally break the fourth wall and kind of look at the camera and let the audience know he's about to do something. Yeah. And what's funny is, we did this, Eric Martzoff, again, just incredible actor. We've got Britt Barron on board, from Glow on Netflix, and also Final Fantasy Remake, with a ton of other amazing actors who are, again, some of them I can't believe I got to do some work with them, but it's just been a crazy experience. There's one part of what I thought was really cool is that whenever I call it Keith, the con man, he emerges, he reveals that he's no longer playing dumb.
Yeah.
And he likes to be like, yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, wow, I love your house. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that's what people who, have no confidence in themselves and, pretending they're really tough, that's what they would do. So why are you doing that right now? Why don't you have any confidence? And all of a sudden the other character's like, wait, I thought I did. And then that's when the whole con is revealed and everyone gets thrown like for a loop.
Because the first episode, Rideshare itself, on season 1, I was just like, where is this going?
Yes.
Like, because it was the very first, it was the introductory episode of the whole thing. It was just like, I knew nothing privy beforehand. And, I didn't know what was to come. I just knew this in the moment. And it was just like, yeah, let's go in this parking lot over here. Why is it so dark? Oh, don't worry about that. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
it's going down. And then was it Danny trying to tackle him, and he just like sitting there choking him and shit. I mean, you got to use your imagination for these things, but there are some visual aids on the YouTube for Digital
That's
Sky.
Right. We created a motion comic to go along with this because, why not? Right. And just let people know, the audio version, you know, we've got a writer, we got director Scott Zachrin, who is brilliant. We've got producers, we've got engineers, we've got sound people. Then we bring in the talent, and I mean, this is a Hollywood production.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, we just got together as a team and said, well, let's give a visual. So we brought in a great artist and a great animator. Ian Moss is the artist. He is phenomenal, wonderful human being. Love his work. Just a great guy. Check out his stuff. I think it's mossstudios.com. And then the animator is Chris Warren. And this guy also is phenomenal. He's done like motion comics, you know, and he creates like these motion comic like advertisements and like coming soon trailers. He did Secret Wars for Marvel. He did stuff for Valiant. He's worked for like Microsoft. This guy, like between Ian Moss and Chris Warren, we brought in the Superman Batman kind of team, I feel like. So it's on top of already having the Justice League over. In all seriousness, I'm the weak link in this team, and I'm not a weak link.
So being involved in this production and everything, I mean, it sounds just like it's very time consuming and immersive and whatnot, just being in the thick of things, trying to make sure everything is right. Do you feel like, you know, since you're being in this environment, is there anything that you want to take away from here and bring back to Who Would Win?
There's some big announcements coming for Who Would Win.
Very well.
So the answer is yes. And like I said, I will let you know soon when when I can say it.
Mm-hmm.
But expect Who Would Win to become part of the team. I'll leave it at that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was, like I said, I wanted Who Would Win to kind of go with a big, you know, great minds for, you know, a great production company. And, you know, the goal is to put Who Would Win in front of a live TV audience.
Mm-hmm. And I'm down for that. Man, I don't know. I'm in here. I get a little goosebumps, man. That's fucking great. See, so I put it out there into the ether, in the atmosphere and whatnot. I put it out into existence and whatnot. So my affirmations are coming true, hopefully. So yeah.
Listen, by the way, this is why, and I'm not, this is not me just trying to be funny or whatever, but this is why, you know, I think I've always thought of you as like, you know, the upper caliber of humanity, like a really, really good guy, because your affirmation isn't for yourself. It's for other people. I've recognized that for years, by the way. So, you know, this is the world needs more of you coming around doing what you do. I mean, seriously, when people are like, you know, my affirmations are working, so people I really like are getting more successful, that kind of more reflects on that individual more than the person who's going to be successful. With that being said, thank you. You have no idea how much your help and support have been absolutely appreciated.
Man, I don't know. I feel funny. I don't know how I feel. All these compliments or whatever.
Yeah,
man.
By the way, that's the intoxicating mind fog from the Who Would Win show for my point number 3. I meant nothing of that, by the way. None of that was true. That's how I influence judges to give me the decision. When we're doing like Cyclops versus Master Chief, and as great as Cyclops is, Master Chief should absolutely wreck him. I get the win because I use the intoxicating mind fog.
You just point number 3 at me.
I did. Doesn't work on my wife though at all.
Oh,
at all. I've tried. Doesn't work at all.
Mine either. It's reverse mind fog over here. Yeah, it's like I say stuff and she'd be like, "No," and I have to go do chores.
Yeah, that's my life too. That's it.
But given the state of things and whatnot, I know Who Would Win as much as the Random Rounds with Rob. We were starting to get out and go do things and whatnot. You mentioned doing a lot of live shows and anything. How has this pandemic or whatever you want to call it forced you to think differently about what you want to do next? I mean, obviously you got some things in the work, but like, when did that start for you? Pre or whatever, you know, at the start of this whole bullshit?
Oh my God, you have no idea. So we had some big stuff planned. We were bringing in, you know, the original idea was for Ray Cicanis and I to go to different really cool venues within Los Angeles, do our shows at these venues, you know, record, you know, do some videos of what we're doing there. Yeah, the whole thing. And we had, you know, all set up. We had an axe throwing establishment that wanted to host us. Oh no, it gets better. Because when you think of axe throwing, you and I both know who we want to see throwing axes. It's Dennis Rodman.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I would like to see Dennis Rodman throwing a number of things. Axes.
Oh, absolutely. I'd watch him, throw limericks. I'd still be highly entertained by it's Dennis Rodman. So we reached out to his reps. Evidently, he was interested to come out, throw some axes with us, judge a show, and I'm thinking, this is kind of great. And then COVID hit. Oh, and that's not the end of it. We actually had just signed a contract with the San Diego State Fair to appear and do a few different shows live. And they were going to do this whole superhero thing for us, put us in one of their big, huge, they were like, listen, we're going to have about 1 million somewhat people come by that weekend that you're going to be there. Oh. And I'm like, that's fantastic. And then COVID hits. Here's the deal. Whenever something like that occurs, in all seriousness, you got to pivot. Yeah. You got to pivot. And I'm knocking on wood right now. Things have been, I've worked like a maniac. You have too, right? And it's funny what happens when you try to make good decisions, surround yourself with good people, and work really hard. All of a sudden, good things start to happen, hopefully. And I'm very thankful, pretty spiritual person. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm so happy with my life right now, and it's pivoted really, really well, despite the faft that I have to see Race to Canis once a week. But
I knew that was coming.
It was, man. I just, if only. But the reality is, I've talked to some other people who are in production. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? The reality is, there's a lot of brand new opportunities for people to take advantage of. There's a lot of actors and people in entertainment who are no longer producing content, but need to still stay in the public eye, for example. So reach out. Listen, if you have a show, reach out to the managers of these people. Go through the proper channels, and you'll be surprised who wants to come on your show. Here's another cool thing. Advertisers are looking for places to put their money. It is a completely different world than it was a year ago. So it may actually be easier to get advertisers. By the way, if you want advertisers, have an advertising deck. Something like we've talked about before. Have something that says, here's my social media following. Here are my numbers. Here's what I think I could do. Just look really professional, and you'll be really surprised what comes your way.
Word. This message has been sponsored by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and you can get 20% off your order by using promo code random and free shipping.
Well played. Well played.
Or you can go to bluechew.com if for those
go on.
And yes, and you get your first month's order free by using promo code random.
Yeah, and don't use it all at once.
No, please don't.
Don't ask me why I know that's not a good idea.
Please, for the love of God, please don't.
Yeah. There's a video. You saw it. Well, you were there, so.
Oh, hey.
I got it. Sorry. I said too much.
Fuck. Oh.
Sir. Yes, sir. By the way, we haven't even talked about the real thing. We haven't talked about my what I really hope to accomplish in this world.
Punching Ray in the face.
We haven't talked about the two things I want to accomplish in this world. By the way, I never want to hit Ray. He actually is. I don't want I don't want to get hurt. I don't want him to get hurt. We're good. You know what? I kind of do, but no, I don't. We're a good team. Let's not wreck a good thing. I digress. I want to be. Can I pitch something to you?
I'm listening.
Okay. I see your videos of you walking through Walmart. Okay. And Walmart to me is this magical, wonderful place.
Second to Disneyland.
It's like Disneyland. It's like you're the king of Walmart. I just see you as the king of Walmart. And what does the king need? Executive protection. So I would like to be your, not that you need it. I just think you should have it.
Yes.
Right? Like you don't need a nice car. I just think you should have one. You don't need $10 billion. I just think you should have it. Yeah, so I think with all that
too.
Yeah, we're great minds think alike, right? So what if I could be your executive protection at Walmart? I'd stand in front of you, right? You could. I'm just pitching this idea. You're the king. You decide. You tell me where we're walking. I'll make sure people stay out of your way. And I'm also fairly convinced I can get you a lot of free stuff at Walmart.
Word. I am down. I am down for that. Sir, you're hired.
Done.
No, but for real though, when all this shit started happening and everything, I had it firmly in my mind to make preparations to head that way to LA.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to come see you guys. I wanted to, be around the show, not necessarily be on it, but be in the.
You would no, come on. You would be on the show. Ray and I would be like, that's the one thing we'd agree on. Yes, you're on the show.
And it's just like, it was frustrating and everything, because I have so many ties to, that side of the United States. And, that's why I went to boot camp. That's why I did a lot of my training at. I spent summers on the West Coast as a child. Damn, I know people that are going to be stationed there, so I want to go visit them. I have guests that have been on the show that's there. And I want to go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. And
absolutely. That's God's country right there.
So I was like, for the summer, I was like all primed and pumped and ready to go. And then it's like, boom.
Look, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back. Imagine when things open up, how excited people are going to be able to go to a convention, even if it's a small one, or go to a movie, or start to travel or go places again. This too shall pass. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So aside from, the big things that you got going on with Digital Sky and the stuff to come with who will win and whatnot, what have you been enjoying personally? Like, what is something that you miss because of what's going on right now? And what is something that you found yourself currently enjoying?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I really miss the fact that comic book conventions, I miss those a lot. Not to sound too weird, but my son and I started going to conventions, my oldest son, and it was our thing, right? And we had our big yearly trip was going to San Diego Comic-Con, and I'd call in everyone I knew and get like some cool stuff going on and be like, hey, BBC, I hear you're doing this Doctor Who virtual reality thing. My son and I want to come and check it out. Of course, you just come to the front, talk to us. Just because my son was just like this kid in a candy store, and actually I was too. And it was just, and by the way, the people at conventions are awesome. I mean, these are just, when people, I remember my parents always saying, like, why do you like comic books? And, it's kind of weird or whatever. And my parents are great, by the way, but I'd say, Mom, Dad, I'm telling you, there's lots of people like me out there. And then you go to a convention and you just see it. And it's just I don't know how to describe it. The magnificence of a comic convention done well is unparalleled. I'll just leave it at that. So that's what I absolutely miss. What I started doing on my own, I don't have a lot of free time these days, but I started doing crazy gymnastics style workouts at my MMA facility, because we've had to really pare down the classes and what have you. So I'm like, cool, there's mats, there's bags and all that, and I'm punching, kicking all that, and I'm doing like some gym kata kind of weird stuff.
Yeah, I have that movie, by the way.
By the way, how brilliant was Jim Kata? I was describing that to my son as well. And he's like, well, tell me, Dad, what is Jim Kata? I said, well, if you ever find yourself in an Eastern European town, as we often do, and the town's filled with half zombies, and you're a gymnastics gold medalist, and there's a pommel horse just happen to be in the town square, and you happen to be a martial artist, that's when you unleash your Jim Kata on the zombie villagers. And I have no idea where I'm going with this, but that's I mean,
I was invested. I know what you're talking about. So I
know, right? Do you remember when Jim Kata came out, like the cool like advertisements, and then you went and saw it, and you're like, I'm pretty sure this wasn't what I signed up for.
Your man had uneven bars in the alleyway doing the shits, and kicking the guy in the face and everything.
Like, why didn't they just like leave him alone for like, I don't know, 2 minutes?
You get tired.
And they get tired, and then like, why were they? So many like tactical errors in their attack strategy. It was infuriating for a young kid like me.
So you've been incorporating some of that into your training.
Right. I've been not successfully, but the attempt is there. And the other thing is, like, I love dancing as well, right? But the problem is, I'm fully aware.
Dancing with the Stars.
Dancing with the Stars, or the opposite, dancing with James Gavsie. Here's the deal. I'm a little bit of a bigger guy, about 6'3", 260, nothing huge, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But when I used to go out dancing with my friends, I noticed that people would look at me like I was like, that bear at the circus. And like at first,
no,
I'm going to go there.
No,
And
hold
at
on,
first, they're
wait a
like,
minute,
oh, cool.
wait a
There's
minute.
a bear at the
I don't mean to
circus.
cut you off. Let me just stop you here.
Yes.
Me imagining you dancing. If you can recall, I forget which Van Damme movie it is, but you know the one.
No. Wait, no. I'm not doing the Van Damme. No. How dare you? How dare you?
But you did a mean split at the end. I mean,
yeah, that's the only part I wish I could do. No, that's like the devil's work. What Van Damme was doing when he danced like that, there's no redeeming value from that. No one taught him that. He's just thinking it's a good thing to do. And I love Jean-Claude Van Damme, but I think God punished him. That's why his career didn't go the way he wanted to, because he was dancing like that. I'm just saying what everyone else is thinking. By the way, I met him at Gold's Gym in Venice. Really interesting guy. I'm just going to leave it at that. Really interesting guy. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of his.
Okay. That was kind of fun.
I'm just saying what everyone's thinking.
Hey, he was in the Expendables, so that kind of was.
By the way, he was great in the Expendables.
Great.
And I loved how he played a villain, and his name was French for villain. Very creative writing in that movie.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Anyway, so yeah, but he was great.
Word.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I don't know where to go from here.
I don't know either. We've kind of gone everywhere. We've talked about Gymkata. Yeah. By the way, Gymkata would be what I would use at Walmart to defend you. Yeah, because Walmart, if you think about it, depending on the section,
henchman just to see you break it out.
Oh my God, that's like every day for me. Like henchmen coming around my house, and I have to go out, walk the dog, and take them out. That's it's part of the Gymkata exercise routine I've developed for myself. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Walmart's got like different sections. My favorite section was the freezer section, not where they sold food in the cold freezer section, where they sold freezers. So whenever I went to, a new Walmart, and this is not good, I'd always go to some poor attendant or someone working there, and I'd say, hey, quick question. Just want to know about this. How many bodies fit in this?
Can you fit in here?
Yeah. And I'd say it in a really serious tone. I'm like 3? Is it like 2 large bodies and like a severed half of it? And I get bored at Walmart is what I'm trying to say. So I need to keep myself entertained. And
what I've been finding myself doing more recently is going down the wine aisle where they got all the wine and the beer and all that stuff. And that is a little thing that I call choices were made. So you find a lot of interesting things down that aisle because, I drink wine with my wife here and everything. We trying to build up a little cabinet and whatnot. So I go in there, I just try to find some things that I think me and her will like. But I find myself going down the aisle more often because, one time I went down there, I got kind of concerned. This one particular instance, it was like a guy, or I mean, I'm not saying it's a guy, but I mean, it could have been. I don't know. I went down there, and it had somebody had like some baby wipes there or something. So they went to the baby aisle. And that makes
sense. That makes sense on the aisle, or the wine aisle, baby wipes.
They left it there, and then I go down a couple more feet, and it was like some baby formula. They left that there. And then on the other side, it was a box of a whole bunch of sleeping aids. And then it's just like, I don't know, that was kind of troubling to me. It's like they had a child or something that they was going to get baby wipes and formula and stuff for, and they just left it there and forgo it and just kind of downed a whole bunch of sleeping aids and shit. And they bought liquor. And I was just kind of putting the story together in my mind, very Digital Sky-like. I was like, I'm trying to piece all this production together in my mind, like, oh shit, somebody got it right now. They got a baby at home that's crying. They don't know how to cope with it. They probably had a bad thing with their spouse or a significant other, and they don't know how to cope. They're here in the alcohol aisle. They're getting alcohol and taking sleeping pills. And I was just like, oh God.
The question I had was, why was Ray Stacanis at your Walmart? Because I know he doesn't like going to Houston. What was he?
Oh, I don't think that was the Ray Stacanis instance. I think
you don't think so?
The one I think I saw for Ray Stacanis, it was like it was hygiene products that was left.
Yeah, he doesn't use those at all. That's definitely not a Ray thing, for sure. Hygiene and Ray, definitely.
Yeah, somebody forego their personal hygiene just to get booze and whatnot. But you see a whole bunch of stuff like that. You'll see just the other day, birthday stuff. It looked like somebody was getting stuff for a kid's birthday party, and they left it all there. It was like little drinks and freaking Kool-Aid packets and a rack of family cookies or whatever, like you would bring to a kid's function. Birthday candles.
What?
They just left it all there in the liquor aisle, and I was like, somebody just said, "Fuck them kids," and pull up.
So someone had a full-on birthday party catered by Walmart at Walmart.
Yeah, just left it in the liquor aisle and just. I
know what I'm doing this Saturday.
But that's what I go. People just leave weird shit. It's just somebody left because we wearing masks now. They left a whole pack of masks there in the liquor aisle. They leave freaking just all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's just like somebody came here with these items in hand, left them in the liquor aisle, and just left with liquor instead of the necessities.
Look, this is sounding dangerous. The more you describe it, which makes me feel that you need executive protection even more than I realized at Walmart. That was not something the king of Walmart should have witnessed. That should have been cleaned up. If I was working for you, I would have taken an attendant, used him like a broom, cleaned up that whole place, and thrown you a birthday party as well.
Word. I mean, shit, man. I mean, you've given me so many things this episode. You've given me, confidence by giving me your awesome compliments and everything. I mean, you're giving me ideas to, expand the 3R brand and whatnot. You're offering me security that I didn't think I knew I needed, but, after the fog around me right now. Very hazy. I don't know what's going on.
Well, listen, maybe I just like being around like very cool people, and that's just my way of like being in the presence of magnificence. Maybe this is all about me. Do you ever think about that? No, seriously, you're awesome.
Okay, this is where we're gonna put a pin in it because it's too much for me right now. My is hurting and everything, and I'm not trying to shoo you off, but it's great to have you here, man. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're prospering and whatnot. And it's just like what I'm wishing for you is, it looked like it's coming to pass, and I'm happy about that.
Listen, I'm very thankful. I'm very happy. There's still a long road ahead of us, but I'm with a great team, and again, people like all joking aside, the support you've shown us and the friendship and. Like we didn't know each other 3 years ago, and from out of nowhere, you started being like really cool with me and everything we were doing, and that's kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I made you realize that you didn't need cussing on your show.
Yeah, that's actually that was you. That's right. Yeah, we realized very quickly that. Well, here's the other thing too. We have families who listen to the show with their grandparents. Yeah. And, maybe the grandparents didn't want to hear certain words.
Yeah, I understand.
And, I'm not saying I'm against those. I'm actually against those. There you go.
Yeah, I understand wholeheartedly. I know I can be a bit much. But if you would have gave me the Cliff Notes beforehand, I would have tailored that down a little bit.
This is why we have a production team now. We're going to get you on the show. You're going to, show your magnificence to the world. You're going to give me the win. It's just going to be a great day for everybody.
I like how you snuck that in there.
Yeah, I had to. Got to start now. Ray is crafty.
But, sir, before you leave, let everybody know where they can find you on social media and all the wonderful things that you got going on.
Thank you, sir. You can find me at James Gavsie on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. You can find all the wonderful stuff. That's the Who Would Win Show at Who Would Win Show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our Facebook group's also going insane. Mm-hmm. So is our Instagram and Twitter. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts by typing in Who Would Win. And you can find Rideshare on the Digital Sky channel on YouTube. So subscribe, like, and leave a comment. We read everything. And we're dropping our second episode very soon of Rideshare. It's going to be awesome. You can see that on YouTube. And you can also just subscribe to the podcast version of that on Apple Podcasts. Just look up Digital Sky and subscribe, rate, and review.
Word. And you know this already, but as it is for every guest of the Random Rounds with Rob, the door is always open for, well, not this one, but the door is always open for you to come back to promote your next big thing, which you have, and just to shoot shit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is an honor, a privilege, and just a really cool thing I get to do. This is your friendship means a lot to me. That's all I can say.
Virtual high fives.
That was weird.
I know, because it's like I'm
like seeing this massive hand coming out.
Shit.
Yeah.